of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, coming to you from the Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. Absolutely terrific place tonight for the Stanley Cup Finals. The Front Runners Tap House, TVs everywhere, delicious food, terrific service as well. We've been out here about 30 minutes, and we got people coming up to us left and right. Do you want this? Do you want that? Try this, try that. We're very happy to be here. Again, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton and Florida, 8 o'clock this evening. If there's a place in Jacksonville to watch hockey, to watch the Stanley Cup Finals, are you kidding me? I got a hockey rink in front of me. I got a hockey rink behind me, and I got the Front Runners Tap House right in the middle of the Community First Igloo. Come on out and join us. I was telling the boys during the 2-minute drill there that my son, Little Hack, actually learned how to ice skate on the rink directly behind me in the last couple of months. He's going to be taking hockey lessons out here at the Igloo, and then after that, we always come over to the Front Runners Tap House, get him some dinner. We love it. You will too. Come on out and join us. First and foremost as well, happy to be back from vacation. Always enjoy getting away for a little bit. Always miss you guys, though. There was certainly a lot that transpired when I was in the middle of the Caribbean, which I will get to in a moment. Had a great time on our yearly family cruise, if you will, but happy to be back. And it's going to be a long work week. I mean, I got to put it in, all right? I'm here today, I'm here tomorrow, and I'm here Wednesday, and then well, I'm on another airplane on Thursday. That's just the way I get down in the summer months. But I'm going to give it a good, solid 3 days of work this week, tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday, before I get dragged to my 20th Kenny Chesney show out at the Sphere in Las Vegas coming up on Friday. I kid because I care. My wife loves Kenny Chesney, and as a result of that, I love Kenny Chesney. I'll be with you for the next 3 days. And it's a good week to be back, too. Obviously, the Jaguar mandatory veteran mini camp beginning tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center. I will be down there, scheduled to talk with newest Jaguar offensive lineman Fred Johnson, of course a former Florida Gator, a guy that just won a Super Bowl ring with the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking forward to that conversation with Fred Johnson tomorrow. We will certainly play that for you tomorrow evening here on Hacker After Dark. As far as tonight's program, guest lineup looks like this because Jaguar veteran mini camp is tomorrow. Well, let's get the head coach on, Dave Campo, the head coach. It's always Monday night coaching with Campo during the year here on Hacker After Dark. During the regular season, we sometimes mix that in to the off season as well. Tonight is one of those nights, so we'll have the head coach, Dave Campo, to preview Jaguar minicamp. That comes up in about 15 minutes or so. Our NFC North previews this week. We will make stops in Green Bay. We will make stops in Minnesota and Chicago. Tonight, we will begin with the Detroit Lions. We go one division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's the NFC North. Tonight, it's the Detroit Lions. And one of my guys in Detroit is Benjamin Raven of MLive.com and the Dungeon of Doom Lions podcast, as we will talk about the departures of Ben Johnson, the departures of Aaron Glenn, what that will mean for the Detroit Lions moving forward as our NFC North previews kick off later on this evening. So as you can tell, we're absolutely loaded. We're happy to be here at the Front Runners Tap House for Stanley Cup Finals Game 3 between Edmonton and Florida. I'm honored to be sitting next to the one Edmonton Oiler fan in Jacksonville, my guy Max Fink here. So you and I were talking. You're Philadelphia through and through. You Eagles, you're still celebrating that championship.
That's right.
You were hurting with the 76ers. And yet you've sprinkled into me the fact that you're like an Edmonton Oiler fan now. So are you fired up for Game 3 tonight?
Why not? I'm excited to watch the best player in the world do his thing, and hopefully go up 2-1 here.
How do you feel being the only Edmonton Oilers fan in Duval County?
It's a lonely feeling, but it's a good feeling.
I was telling you, if there's an Edmonton Oilers fan club, you would be the president, the vice president, and the CEO.
That's right.
So you would wear numerous hats. But in light of you being an Edmonton Oilers fan tonight, I might root for the Edmonton Oilers as a result of that. Dylan Denmark, let's go back to you for a quick second, my friend. It's been a while since you and I had a chance to talk. How have your last 10 days or so been?
A lot of bad golf and watched a lot of college baseball, softball, and I did watch game 2 of the hockey game. So I watched 5 minutes of hockey. Was that
Denmark
Friday night?
is well versed in the National Hockey League.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, Denmark knows what's going on. Well, I'm happy to be back with all you guys, and again, happy to kick off a week here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and the aforementioned Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, but it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Oh, what a difference a year makes, ladies and gentlemen. 365 little days. You know, last year I went on a cruise on literally the same cruise ship, the Carnival Vista out of Port Canaveral. Big fan of that cruise ship. And we went to the same island that I just left 48 hours ago, which was Grand Turk. I was in Grand Turk last Friday and Saturday. Last year, I was on Grand Turk the Friday and Saturday to end my cruise. And I remember sitting there 48 hours ago, and I literally sat in the same spot that I did 12 months prior, had the same meal that I had 12 months prior, and no kidding, had the same waitress that I had 12 months prior. It was like Groundhog Day. Same pool, same meal, probably the same seat for all I know, and the same waitress, just 12 months apart. And as I was sitting there enjoying the Caribbean lifestyle in Grand Turk, which, by the way, the Margaritaville in Grand Turk has the largest pool in the Caribbean. They claim it's an acre long. I don't know about that, but I know it's a very, very big, wide, and enthusiastic pool. I do enjoy myself when I'm there. I remember thinking that 12 months ago at this same venue, man, was I fired up about what Trent Baalke had done in free agency. Man, was I fired up about Doug Peterson coming back for year 3. They just signed Ronald Darby and Gabe Davis and Devin Duvernay and Eric Armstead and Darnell Savage. And I mean, I was just pumped. The Jaguars, I mean, they fell apart in 2023. They were 8-3. They finished, 9-8, missing the playoffs. But that was just a formality because of all the injuries. They were going to turn things around. And that's what I thought when I was in Grand Turk in 2024. And those thoughts, aspirations, dreams of all of you Jaguar fans, I guess myself included, were crushed and shattered and destroyed in the first 4 weeks of the 2024 season. The Jaguars lost all 4 of their first games, never recovered, and we know how the season ultimately went at 4-13. But as I was sitting there 2 days ago, thinking about, man, how long a year is. But it doesn't seem that long because it seems like only yesterday, or I guess 53 weeks ago, I was so excited about the direction of this franchise. My question is, if I go back to Grand Turk in 2026, what will my memories be of what I think about the 2025 campaign? And let me tell you what I think about the 2025 campaign. When you're sitting in the middle of the Caribbean with a cold pina colada in your hand, you do some soul searching, right? You do some thinking. You do some talking and some, thoughts enter your mind about the team that you cover. And I'm excited about Liam Cohen. I'm really excited about James Gladstone. I'm excited about Trevor Lawrence having what I think is going to be a better offensive line in front of him. Words cannot fully describe how excited I am about the combination of Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. You sprinkle in De'Ami Brown, who I'm pretty high on. You look at the running game with Travis Etienne, we think, Tank Bigsby, a couple of rookie running backs, including Bashel Tootin from Virginia Tech. You look at the defense. You add veterans like Eric Murray and Jordan Lewis. Devin Lloyd is in a contract year. Eric Armstead's trying to recapture what he had in San Francisco. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. Now, there are some people that will tell you that Jacksonville media are sunshine and rainbows people, that we just fluff it up to make it all sound wonderful, and then it all comes shattering down in September, October, and November. I would like to think that we don't do that, and I certainly know that I don't do that. If you've listened to me over the years, you've gotten on to me about being too negative. I can't tell you how many people on social media during Jaguar game days just give me the business about negative this and negative that. I mean, I've heard it all. Oh, they moved you to nights because you're too negative. They did this because you're too negative. They did that because you're too negative. And not that any of that's true, but I understand why you think that. You call it negativity, I call it reality. And the reality is this team has sucked for a very, very large portion of the last 15 years. We're not going to sugarcoat anything here. The team's been terrible. They have 10 fewer wins than any other team in the National Football League dating back to 2012. You couldn't even, make chicken salad out of chicken, what with that. I mean, there is no chicken salad with that. It's a bad product, and it has been. Bad decisions, bad draft picks, bad free agents, all of that. But now, even me, even a guy that's been negative/realistic as I have been, I look at what the Jaguars are doing, and I am excited. I am genuinely excited about the direction of this franchise. Does that mean they're going to win a Super Bowl in 2025? No, I don't think they are. Does that mean they're going to go to the playoffs in 2025? Well, that's more of a conversation. That's more debatable. I don't know if they are or not, but I think they certainly could, and I think they will compete for a division that, quite frankly, isn't very good. Indianapolis, I guess Daniel Jones is their quarterback. Anthony Richardson's already hurt, and it's only the month of June. Tennessee's in a rebuild with a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. And Houston, many will tell you, had the worst offseason in the NFL. Certainly one of them. So the division's winnable. I think Jacksonville's on the right track. Again, am I proclaiming them to be a Super Bowl contender? No. But I certainly think they are going to be better than 4-13, and I certainly think they are going to improve the narrative surrounding this team. And I think Liam Cohen is going to be considered very quickly as one of the up-and-coming head coaches in the National Football League. This entire offseason, we've heard about Ben Johnson this and Ben Johnson that. I'm not so sure that by the end of the year, Liam Cohen isn't getting more good press in Jacksonville than Ben Johnson is in Chicago. So to sum up everything, I go back to the year, right? Grand Turk 2024 versus Grand Turk 2025. Same chair, same waitress, same meal, same vacation, same awesome swimming pool with the same cold, delicious beverages that, yes, I was consuming. And my thought in 2024 about the Jaguars was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I think we were all wrong going into the 2024 season. That became very apparent very quick. My question is, did we learn from that? Did the Jaguars learn from that? Learn from your mistakes, and will we be right about this team in 2025? I believe we will be, but the question remains, if I go back to Grand Turk in 2026 and sit alongside that same pool, will I be reminiscing a year from now about how wrong I was again? Or will I be talking about, you know what? It was at this pool last year where I thought the Jaguars were going to finally turn that corner, and they finally turned that corner. That's the question. We'll get some answers coming up in, 90 days, right? We're roughly 3 months, a little under 3 months away from the Jaguars and the Panthers kicking things off in the regular season on Sunday, September 7th. There at Everbank Stadium. 641-1010 is the phone number if you want to get involved on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You are more than welcome to do so. Again, glad to be back with you and glad to be at the Front Runners Tap House. We're inside the community first. Igloo, the Front Runners Tap House, the place to go for the Stanley Cup Finals. Not only tonight, we got another Stanley Cup Final game coming up on Thursday with Edmonton and Florida, delicious beverages, delicious food, great atmosphere. I mean, are you kidding me? Like I told you guys, my son learned how to ice skate in the rink right behind us here at the Community First Igloo. We've come on over to this restaurant establishment many times, enjoyed dinner. It's now the Front Runners Tap House. Come on out and join us. We'd love to see you out here, and they'd love to see you out here, not only for any of the Stanley Cup final games, but this is just a terrific sports bar. I mean, with a great atmosphere. It's nice and cold, obviously, with 2 hockey rinks inside it. You're not going to find a much better place than this, and we certainly appreciate Front Runners Tap House for having us out here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Again, a lot to do. Guest lineup kicks off with Dave Campo. Jaguar mandatory veteran minicamp tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday at the Miller Electric Center. I'm scheduled to talk with Jaguar offensive tackle Fred Johnson tomorrow. Again, looking forward to that conversation. I'll be down there in what appears to be 100-degree weather. I won't have a football helmet or be running around, but I will be standing there soaking it all in. And I got to man up, Max. In times like this, you got to man up. When you're on the sideline standing in the shade, you just got to do it, man. You got to do it for the good people of Jacksonville, for me to report what I see to you, and that is the commitment I'm making to go down to the Miller Electric Center and do that tomorrow, and again, talk to Fred Johnson on the Jaguar offensive line. Let's preview Jaguar minicamp with my buddy Dave Campo. It's Monday night coaching with Campo during the regular season, a little bit of that now in the offseason, as we'll talk to the head coach about minicamp, his expectations. What is his message, or what was his message to his Cowboy teams leaving minicamp, knowing they have 6 weeks of vacation before they come back for training camp? It's one of the most important speeches he says head coaches give all year. Don't do anything stupid in the 5 or 6 weeks between minicamp and training camp. We'll have the head coach Dave Campo with us next on a Monday evening, live from Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. It's Hacker After Dark right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Don't do something stupid.
Dan Hicken
This competition between you and your brother is sick.
and Jeff Prosser.
Your obsessive one-upmanship.
Together they are The Drill.
That's the thing I love about your show. You're not just serious. You can be funny.
Mornings on 1010XL.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. I also go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. If you have a school, team, or group that would benefit from a team store, you're in luck because we now offer team stores. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Friends, we have a very special guest on the line.
The Checkmate Coatings phone line is where the action happens.
Where's the phone? Over there.
Get expert interviews and listener opinions all day, every day, from The Drill all the way to Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys come comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision.
I love it.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
June is Men's Health Month, and here's your reminder to be proactive and get screened for early detection at Ackerman Cancer Center. Many cancer instances are largely preventable and treatable. So take steps now to minimize your risk factors at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
The head coach, Dave Campo, joins us in less than 60 seconds. I did want to bring a couple of orders of business here. Again, we're at Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. There is so much tasty food out here. It's ridiculous. They got 3 different sliders they just brought out. They got their loaded fries platter, their chips and queso platter. This place is absolutely outstanding. Again, Front Runners Tap House, right in the middle of the Community First Igloo. Stanley Cup Finals, Game 3 tonight, Edmonton and Florida. I was giving my guy Max here some credit because he's what I thought was the only Edmonton Oiler fan, right, in the city of Jacksonville. But it has been brought to my attention that our guy Justin Moore over at George Moore Chevrolet is also a huge Edmonton Oilers fan. So, Justin, you know Justin Moore, George Moore Chevrolet. They're a big part of the 1010XL family. Max, I just found out that you're not the only Edmonton Oilers fan. Our guys over at George Moore Chevrolet, Justin Moore in particular, is a big Edmonton Oilers fan. So I think you and him need to consolidate the Edmonton Oilers fan club here in Jacksonville, maybe get together for a Game 3 tonight or Game 4 on Thursday, and we could really turn this into something, right? The Edmonton Oilers fan club in Duval County, I think, has the potential to really take off now.
That just takes my respect for George Moore Chevrolet to the next level there. That's great news.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. We always appreciate the good folks over at George Moore Chevrolet. All right, Dave Campo, we always appreciate the head coach as well. Jaguar minicamp tomorrow. The head coach has been through it several times, obviously. Here's my conversation with Dave Campo on Hacker After Dark.
Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Just like that, Jaguar mandatory veteran minicamp kicks off tomorrow, 3 days of practice. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that's it until training camp at the end of July. They'll take about 5.5 or 6 weeks off, and they will come back for training camp, and we will kick off the 2025 NFL season. Let's talk to, I guess, a world traveler at this point. He's wrapping up a pretty long vacation, but he certainly earns it with all the work he does with us here on 1010XL. That's my buddy Dave Campo, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great. Just been on a 3-week venture around Dallas and Utah, and weddings and grandkids and kids and family reunions. We haven't done that in a long time. We getting everybody together, and it's been good. But I'm ready. I'm ready to get back, and let's get this season going here.
Yeah, I hear you. And like you and I talked about off air, in your line of work, our line of work, you kind of got to get it in this time of year, right? Because once, mid-August gets here, it's pretty much it until December or January. The idea, Coach, of veteran minicamp. I know in some years past, I think Doug Peterson kind of canceled it, or was just for the young guys. That's not the case now with the new regime and Liam Cohen and his new staff, as the guys will be in for a mandatory minicamp beginning tomorrow. What is the idea from a coaching perspective? What do you want to get accomplished with this June minicamp?
Well, I think it's a culmination of OTAs, the off-season training situation, which is voluntary. To me, it's just an extension of that where, there are some guys that have not been in these camps. I think, obviously the Jaguars, I think everybody's been there. So for us, for here in Jacksonville, it's just an opportunity for, to say, hey, you have to be here. And if you don't, we fine you. So it's a continuation. I think it's kind of a culmination of where they can get their ideas in, get as much of the rest of the playbook they can get in. And it's, just sends them off with a good feeling, hopefully, because hopefully there have been some guys developed, a lot of new guys on this roster. Hopefully they've developed, and you see a pretty good product there.
What does it tell you, Coach? 10 OTA practices. Now we're going to have this mandatory minicamp. And like you said, it's been unbelievable participation. Maybe a guy or two has missed a day here or there for whatever reason. But by and large, there has been a ton of guys here over this offseason program.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a natural thing, especially when you have a new staff in, because really, to be honest with you, there are a few guys that are probably untouchable on this roster, but the majority of this roster is put on notice. This is a situation where you better show what you can do during this period of time. And I'm sure we're going to talk about this a little bit in this segment. You've seen by roster moves and stuff that nobody's safe. They're going to be looking at everybody else's roster. They're going to be, what the OTAs do is they at least give those new coaches a chance to look at these guys and get a feeling for, do we need some extra guys here or there? Are there guys that we need to move on from and replace? So if I'm a player, this is a job interview. This situation, plus getting the team as a whole ready for the, to get the new schemes and everything ready for the season.
The head coach, Dave Campo, with us as the Jaguars kick off mandatory veteran minicamp tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center. You talk about the roster moves, Coach, and I remember in years past, you and I have had this talk that Well, quite frankly, the Jaguars didn't do very many roster moves after the draft. It kind of was what it was, to the chagrin of a lot of people. Yet that has not been the case here. The Jaguars have been very active, including bringing back an old friend in Dewan Smoot last week. What do you make of the amount of roster moves the Jaguars have done here in the last couple of weeks?
Well, I like it. I mean, I like it from the standpoint that, it shows that they're not totally happy with the roster the way it sits, and they're not going to sit tight. I think one of the criticisms of Trent and Doug were that they did stand pat on some guys, and I think it bit them in the butt. I think that from my feeling, you try to put the best roster together as you can. And if that's bringing in guys that give you an opportunity to get some depth, or you see a guy, I saw that they brought in a linebacker as well as Dewan. Those are guys that help on special teams. You have to improve the roster all the way around, not just in one particular position. You're trying to improve the total 53 that you finish with going to the season. So I like it. I like Dewan Smoot, to be perfectly honest with you. The one thing about him, he's not going to be a 10, 11, 12 sack guy, but you're going to get 100% from the guy, and the guy's been pretty darn effective when he's played. So I think that's an example. Agba is another example. You bring him in, and it gives you a guy that not only gives you maybe a third pass rusher, but it gives a guy that could start if something happened to one of the starting outside guys. So I like it. I think it's going to continue. It may not be through at this point. We'll see.
Coach, the rookies have been here for basically 6 weeks, a little over, and they hit the ground running from rookie minicamp right into OTAs, now right into this minicamp. How valuable will this 6 weeks off be heading into training camp for the rookies, including Travis Hunter?
Well, I think you need a little bit of time to kind of, get yourself mentally prepared for what's going to happen when you go to training camp. It gives them a chance to get away a little bit. But for those young guys, they're going to have to continue to keep studying that book. If they want to be a factor this year, one of the hardest things is to make sure that these young guys coming in understand that they are no longer, going to spring break down in Miami, Florida, during their time off. They're in a job now, and they have to prepare if they want to be on this roster. So, you say, okay, for the veterans, this might be a chance to kind of kick back and go to Cabo and some of these places, wherever they go. I don't know where they go today. But for the rookies, those guys are going to have to continue to pay attention to what they're doing mentally. And all of the guys are going to have to continue to work, as far as strength training and doing some running and doing all the things to get themselves ready for training camp.
Well, and to that point, I know I ask you this every year, one of the most important speeches of any head coach, I think, is the speech after minicamp, because then the guys go on their own way for 5 or 6 weeks. And as a coach, you probably hold your breath for a lot of that time, right? Just don't do anything stupid off the field.
That's the key, because when you got them around, you feel like, although that's not a guarantee when you have them around, but you at least feel like you've got your finger on the pulse. Whereas when they go out on their own, anything can happen. And I think that's got to be a product of, the type of guys you have on your ball club. I think one of the things that this group has made a big point of is going and get smart guys with character. And I think that's important as well. But you do hold your breath. And you hope that the guys understand that they're professionals and that they have a standard to uphold for not only themselves, their family, but for the organization. And, that hopefully that is good enough to keep the guys headed in a straight and narrow.
Couple more for the head coach, Dave Campo. Coach, earlier today, Green Bay released cornerback Jair Alexander. Now, he's a very accomplished player, up there in age a little bit, still got a lot of good years left. There's been some injury issues there, but for whatever reason, he and Green Bay, it just did not work out. If you look at the Jaguar depth chart at corner with Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis, we'll see where Travis Hunter factors in. Is a guy like Jair Alexander, who Anthony Campanile obviously worked with last year in Green Bay, is that a guy you would look at if you're James Gladstone?
Yeah, well, I can't speak for Gladstone, but I would say that that's one that you take a real hard look at. And especially I think they have some cap room available with some of the things that they've done. To me, one of the things that they've shown, not only from a player standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, is that there's familiarity with the guys that they brought in here. And I think that is definitely going to be something that they definitely look at. I don't know how they feel about the cornerback room. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress right now with guys like Jarian Jones and guys that they've got to decide whether they can play outside Tyson and the continuing development of all of those guys. So, listen, that guy's a good player. Now, he's a little older, and we thought that Darby was going to come in here and maybe be a factor. He wasn't. So, again, the one thing that they've made clear is that they're not going to have veterans keep young players from, having a chance to develop and get experience and all those things. So it's 50-50 in my mind. I think you're definitely going to look at it, though, if they think they can win this year.
Coach, as we begin to wrap up, clearly the big story in the NFL over the last day or two is Aaron Rodgers. The saga is over for now as he signs on the dotted line with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He will be at Steelers minicamp later this week. Your overall thoughts when you saw Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh?
Well, first of all, Pittsburgh didn't have a quarterback. So to me, there's been some, first of all, they've got a pretty good roster. So, I think they go into every year feeling like they can, get to the playoffs, which has been proven with Tomlin. But the one thing that they have missed is really the guy that might be able to take them a little farther than they've been. And, obviously Rodgers is not the same guy as he's been in the past. So it's a little bit of a gamble. But at the same time, if there's anybody that can handle a guy like Rodgers, it's probably Tomlin. I think he's got a track record of being able to handle guys that, that are a little bit, on the edge. And I think Rodgers, I don't know. I don't know what he's got left, but I do know that he's been there. He's experienced. He's one of those guys that you never know game to game. He could come up with a big ball game. I guess that's a good move on their part. I wouldn't like it just from the standpoint that I think he's too much of a diva for me. But again, that's, I didn't have a quarterback when I was the head coach of the Cowboys, so I probably would have taken Rodgers at this point.
Well, and the crazy thing about Pittsburgh, and like you said, they have a standard of excellence there. Tomlin's going to be in Canton, Ohio one day in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but they have certainly deterred from what they normally like to do, making the trade for DK Metcalf, going out and get Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but this offseason has been very, anti-Steeler from what we've been used to up there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that he's probably at a crossroads, in my opinion. It's hard to say. Nobody thought Bill Belichick would ever, be out at the Patriots. Well, guess what? It's been a long time since, obviously Tomlin's done a super job, but there is a bottom line to try to get to the championship, and they haven't had it in a while. So, when you start bringing in veterans like that, there's a little bit of thought that, hey, my time is getting short.
The head coach, Dave Campo, as the Jaguars begin mandatory veteran minicamp tomorrow. It'll run through Thursday down at the Miller Electric Center. Coach, enjoy your last couple of days of vacation. I'll see you back home very soon, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. And I'm actually the only disappointment I had with this whole thing, and I had no choice because my wife was in charge of this vacation. but I missed most of the OTAs. I'm kind of looking forward to getting back and watching a couple of the minicamp practices and kind of finish up with that. Thanks for having me on, and I can't wait for our post-game show.
That's right. The fifth quarter will be here before we know it. We are inside of 90 days now until the Jaguars and the Panthers. Thank you, Coach.
You got it, Hack. Have a great day, and give a hug to your family.
There you go, the head coach, Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. And, yeah, the fifth quarter, cannot wait for that. There are a lot of cool aspects of my job, things that I certainly don't take for granted. One of the coolest, right at the top of the list, is hosting that fifth quarter post-game show here on 1010XL. Obviously, it hasn't been great win-loss-wise since we've been doing it for basically a decade. But in the last 5 or so years, to have a Pro Bowler in Leon Searcy on one side of me, a former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Dave Campo, on the other side of me, and I get to sit in the middle and just listen to the head coach and listen to the Pro Bowler just talk ball for 2 hours after every Jaguar game. That is pretty cool, and that is something that I never, ever take for granted. So we're certainly looking forward to the fifth quarter coming back. We're making preparations as well. Denmark, I saw that High School Media Day, since I've been gone, has an official date for Friday, August the 1st, when the 60-some-odd high schools here in Northeast Florida will get together for Media Day. We got SEC Media Days a little over a month away. I mean, we are on the doorstep of football season, and it starts really this week, right, with Jaguar Veteran Minicamp tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday down at the Miller Electric Center. More on the Jaguars, more on the National Football League coming up in just a moment. Again, our NFC North preview kicks off tonight. We will make stops this week in Green Bay, in Minnesota, and in Chicago. Tonight, it's all about the Detroit Lions. Remember, Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. Philadelphia did not have the best record in the NFC in the regular season. The Detroit Lions did. They had home field advantage. They obviously lost that game to Washington in the divisional round. They've lost both coordinators, but let's talk about the Lions offseason. Benjamin Raven of MLive.com and the Dungeon of Doom Lions podcast is our guy up in Detroit. He joins us coming up here in about 25 minutes. Coming up next, something pretty cool, man. Florida Theater, June 28th. So we are inside of 3 weeks from Molly Hatchet at the Florida Theater. You want to talk about Southern rock royalty. Molly Hatchet certainly fits that criteria. One of the members of Molly Hatchet, Bobby Ingram, is going to join us here on Hacker After Dark to talk about the show, talk about some new music that the band has put out. In 50 years of rock and roll, Molly Hatchet from right here in Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Bobby Ingram next, right here on Hacker After Dark. We are live from the Community First Igloo. We're inside the Community First Igloo. Tonight, it is all about the Stanley Cup. It is all about Game 3, Edmonton and Florida. And we are very, very, very happy to be at Front Runners Tap House, which is inside the Community First Igloo. So Front Runners Tap House brought us out a spread, man. We got chips and queso. We got sliders. We got loaded fries. We got all this stuff. And it's about little touches, right? Just little things that really get you. They send out these toothpicks, and they're little hockey sticks. I just love that. If you're streaming right now, just check it out, man. This is what it's all about, all right? Just the little touches that make you think, yeah, they're putting some effort into this. They're putting some thought into it. And it doesn't hurt when you have one of the biggest TVs in Jacksonville, Florida, staring at you with all the sports coverage, including tonight, Game 3, Edmonton and Florida. Coming out and join us. Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo will be here until 8 o'clock and probably long after, watching the Panthers and the Oilers. More to do with you till 8 o'clock. In for Blue, it's Hacker After Dark right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Hear the big moments and game-changing plays.
That is another pick six. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnick. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnickBuickGMC.com today to learn more, or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a slip and slide gone wrong? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contract. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through June 30th. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! Hacker here. Y'all know I needed to do something about my weight. When I saw Matt and Mike eating to lose weight, I figured that could probably work for me. And it did. Just look at me now. If you need a weight loss plan that works, visit Awaken180weightloss.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Jacksonville Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. June 28th. Florida Theater. It's going to be here before you know it. That is Firing Line from Southern Rock Royalty. Molly Hatchet, they are going to be here in Jacksonville on June the 28th. Again, less than 3 weeks away at the Florida Theater. Bobby Ingram of Molly Hatchet. It's an honor to welcome him on to 1010XL and to Hacker After Dark. Bobby, how are you tonight, sir?
Hacker, how you doing, my brother?
Bobby, we're good, man. Thank you for taking time out. And Firing Line, one of the new songs you guys will be performing at the Florida Theater. You guys, like I said, are Southern rock royalty. It is a true pleasure to talk to you tonight. And let's talk first and foremost about the concert, June 28th, the Florida Theater. I know people are fired up, Bobby, to see you guys.
And we are too, man. We can't wait to come back. It's our homecoming. We're bringing new material to the Florida Theater. We're bringing new material to Jacksonville. I'm so glad to be on the air with you, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, buddy, we certainly appreciate it. Let's talk about that new material. Let's talk about Firing Line. I know you guys have put together some new music, new albums coming. And look, the Abbey Road situation I read about as well was a very important deal for you guys very recently.
It really was. I mean, to do an album this many years down the line in general has just been a blessing. And to go into a studio like Abbey Road, and we were in Studio 2 over there, and that's where in London, and that's where the Beatles did 95% of all their tracks, all their hits, and walking down that staircase that's along that wall and getting in that studio, man, it was just amazing. We couldn't play. We were all looking at each other going, man, we're not supposed to be here. We had a great time. We had Paul McCartney's production team working on the album. Chris Bolster, he's the longest-standing engineer at Abbey Road. And we started with just 2 tracks. We were only going to go, do the 2 singles. And we wound up doing the entire album there. So we can't wait to have that come out, and it's coming out in the fall. It's a global release for everybody. And we can't wait to have this. And we're going to be playing Firing Line on June 28th at the Florida Theater.
Bobby, do you ever pinch yourself? I mean, 50 years, man. When I say Southern rock royalty, that might be underselling it a little bit. And now here you are 5+ decades in, and you're still producing new music for your fans. I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
It's the love. It's the love of the music is what we have, and now this generation of the group, we carry on the tradition, the spirit, the legacy of the band, and it's been multi-generational. We have our veteran fans, and we have fans that have, like from the very beginning and from the first 1978 release of the first Molly Hatchet album all the way through the new stuff now that's coming out. They're bringing their kids. They're bringing their grandkids. It's amazing that we're seeing it so multi-generational. And Southern rock and roll is here to stay.
A couple of more for Bobby Ingram and Molly Hatchet. They'll be rocking the Florida Theater on June the 28th. Bobby, what does it mean to come back to Jacksonville? Certainly you guys have done numerous shows here. And, again, that doesn't do it justice how many shows you've done in Jacksonville. But I would imagine these shows are always very special to you guys.
They are, and it's our homecoming. It's like we're bringing new music in, like I was saying, and we're seeing all our friends, because, we go all over the world. We travel everywhere. We're in different countries. We see, a lot of the fans, worldwide. But to come home, it's really special to everybody. It's based out of Jacksonville. I still live here. I live in Lake Asbury, so, just to walk into that Florida Theater with all the rock and roll history that's been on the walls, through the decades, man, we can't wait to come.
Bobby, I got to ask you, man, while we have you on, what are your thoughts? It's been a crazy offseason for the Jaguars. You're a Jacksonville guy. Are you fired up at what the Jaguars have done this offseason?
Yeah, and mini camp starts tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow.
That's right.
And,
that's exactly right.
Right? Yeah, and Logan Cook, he's signed now for punter. And isn't he like the highest paid in the NFL? Right?
See, this isn't fair. Not only is Bobby Ingram one of the greatest rockers of all time, he's going to take my job as a sports radio host. He's breaking it down right now.
Listen, I just love the Jags, man. I think they've had a brilliant turnaround, and I think things are going to really happen this year. I'm looking forward to seeing every single game.
All right, Bobby, invite them out. June 28th, the Florida Theater. I would imagine I don't know how many tickets are available. I can't imagine many. People love you guys here in Jacksonville. For the tickets that are available still, what's the best way to go about getting those?
Just go to the Florida Theater. Go to their official site. Go to the official Florida Theater site and just look and pick your seats out. They're going pretty fast, and we can't wait to get there. We're going to have some special things happen on stage too for our U.S. military. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But we're going to have like a dedication that's going to happen on stage. We want everybody in town to come out and see it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wouldn't expect anything less from Southern Rock royalty. Again, Bobby Ingram and Molly Hatchet. Bobby, really enjoyed the conversation, man. I'd be lying when I found out I was talking to you if it wasn't a very cool moment for me. I've been listening to your music for years. Congratulations on unbelievable success.
Hey, it's cool for me, man. I'm talking to Ryan the Hacker. I love it, man.
Well, you know what? Denmark, save that soundbite, and my career is now complete. All right? There's nothing that will top that from Bobby Ingram and Molly Hatchet. Bobby, best of luck. We can't wait for June 28th. Thank you for taking time out tonight, my friend.
Thanks so much for having me on the air. We'll see you at the show.
That was absolutely terrific. Again, June 28th, the Florida Theater, Molly Hatchet's homecoming, and we certainly appreciate Bobby Ingram for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Our NFC North previews will kick off in less than 10 minutes. We will head to Detroit. Benjamin Raven of MLive.com and the Dungeon of Doom Lions podcast, as we will go to Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota later in the week. It's all about Detroit tonight. Again, one division per week, previewing it leading into the start of Jaguar training camp. I do want to remind you we're about an hour away, a little under an hour away now, from Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals with Edmonton and Florida. We are at the Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. I can tell you, Max Fink, who's out here with me, can tell you, the food out here at Front Runners, absolutely spectacular. You know, I've been staring at this TV, Max, that we were talking to Melanie about a little while ago. What is it, 30 feet high and 30 feet wide, basically?
I think she said 31 feet from corner to corner.
Absolutely incredible. It is gigantic. You got TVs all over the place, including the huge one in the middle. Not only a great place to watch hockey, I mean, give me a break. You're in the middle of two hockey rinks here. There's no better place to watch hockey, but this is going to be a great place to watch sports all year long. Jaguar football will be rocking here in the fall, college football as well. Come on out to Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. We'll be out here for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup tonight between Florida and Edmonton. Up to Detroit, Michigan we go. Benjamin Raven covering the Lions. He's my guy up in Detroit. He joins me next on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
Some people think he's Italian. Maybe he is.
I take everything.
Fat Tony on Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey. Weekdays from 10 to noon on 1010XL. Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL, brought to you by San Jose Collision.
The Florida Gators Week 1 matchup on the gridiron now has an official time and TV destination. The Gators will host Long Island University in the Swamp on Saturday, August 30th for a 7 o'clock kickoff, with the game airing on SEC Network Plus. Their annual matchup against Georgia will be here in Jacksonville on November 1st for a 3:30 kickoff, as that game will air on ABC.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beard's now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beard's can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beard's Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
Okay, here we go with our final lightning round on Potty Talk. Top 3 answers on the board. Ready? Okay. The best way to save money when your faucets or pipes are leaking.
Roll and Reach Plumbing?
Something to help you avoid clogged sewers and drains.
Roll and Reach Plumbing.
The technical term for that ba-whoosh sound when a toilet flushes correctly.
Roll and Reach Plumbing.
Roll and Reach Plumbing is always the right answer. Roll and Reach Plumbing, 260-7059.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
But do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here. Spring has sprung, and it's a great time to sell your house, but only if you have the very best on your side, and those very best are Chad and Sandy Newman. Spring selling season's here. Rates are down. Activity's up. It's the best time in years to sell your home, in fact, but there are homes sitting on the market. They don't have the right representation. That's where Chad and Sandy step in. Maybe you're worried your home needs repairs or updating and it won't sell for a good price. Maybe your family's growing and you need more space. Whatever the reason that you need to sell your home, Chad and Sandy deliver this promise to you. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Sounds pretty hassle-free to me. Take it from Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine. We were determined to buy an affordable home in a specific school zone, but we didn't qualify for the loan needed to get one. Chad and Sandy's team worked with the lender, negotiated a higher qualification price, lower interest. It was huge, $200 less per month. Do it today. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the NFC North. We will make stops in Chicago, in Green Bay, and in Minnesota, but tonight it's all about the Detroit Lions. What a regular season they had last year. The postseason certainly left a little something to be desired. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the offseason that has been as well with one of our guys up in Detroit, Ben Raven, MLive.com. He's also the host of the Dungeon of Doom podcast, and Ben's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ben, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. You know, it's the first day of the off season for us up here in Detroit. They're done for the summer, so good days ahead, man.
Yeah, we have mini camp down here this week, and then the Jaguars will take about 6 weeks off before training camp. All right, let's rewind the clock back to January of last year. An absolutely incredible regular season, Ben. What a disappointment in the playoffs. So has the city, the fan base recovered from that divisional game?
You know, they have, just because the fact that team was able to 15 wins, number one seed, home field advantage, despite missing the number of guys and key impact players they had on that defense. You know, everyone, after the loss to Buffalo late in the season, everyone was kind of like, all right, how is this defense going to hold up in the playoffs? And then, well, you saw how it happened. I mean, 45-plus points, I think it was, from Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and they just ran out of gas there at the end. So I don't think there's not too much doom and gloom around here. You know, people they're not over it because it was a 15-win team, but I don't think people were as, shocked by the outcome just because it was a patchwork defense without a pass rush with practice squad guys. I mean, Jamal Adams started games for this defense in the second half last season. It really was a street squad there at the end.
You know, the crazy thing when you look at Detroit is you think about the subtractions from the team, and it goes to the two coordinators. And let's begin with Ben Johnson. Look, we talk so much about Ben Johnson. We talked about him here in Jacksonville until ultimately he goes to Chicago. The Jaguars grab Liam Cohen. How is Detroit going to deal with the loss of such an accomplished coordinator?
You know, it is a tough loss just because Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson really turned around that offense together when Dan took over play calling and promoted Ben the next season. That's when things took off. There was a really great relationship with Goff and understanding. And obviously he's a creative mastermind, but they also dipped back into that 2022 staff and brought someone back who spent the year in Denver, John Morton. And I mean, it did not take long for them to replace Ben Johnson either. So that kind of told me that they had a plan in mind. I mean, John Morton worked closely with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff in 2022, comes from that Sean Payton tree with Dan Campbell, has those Gruden ties too, and gets to do it with his best friend David Shaw in Detroit. So, I mean, they're doing their best. They're not reinventing the wheel or anything. I mean, we talked to Amon-Ra St. Brown last week, and he said there's some new looks and new formations, but we'd be crazy to change too much. So, you know, I think this is Dan Campbell's offense. Obviously, Ben Johnson took it to another level, added plays to that playbook and stuff like that, but it's gonna look like a similar group. It really is.
The fact that Ben Johnson remains in the division with Chicago, not that the NFC North needed to add any spice to any of those rivalries, but what's the thought about having to play him twice a year?
You know, the Lions, they're not really diving into it, but I would tell you this: the fan base is ready for that one. The fan base, I mean, it's such a hilarious split for the fan base. Like, hooray, go Aaron Glenn. We wish you the best of luck. And it's like death to Ben Johnson from the other side of the fan base just because he stayed in the division. So week 2, home opener, Ford Field's going to be lit up for that one. And obviously there's going to be some motivation there. But, yeah, the fans the fans have got it out for him. We wished you luck, but not if you went to Chicago. So that was kind of the line crossed there.
Ben Raven, MLive.com. He's also the host of the Dungeon of Doom podcast. He's our guy up in Detroit, and he joins us tonight here on 1010XL. All right, Ben, you mentioned Aaron Glenn. He's the other one. He also interviewed here in Jacksonville, ultimately took the job with the New York Football Jets. What will his loss mean to the defensive side of the ball for Detroit?
You know, he was such a great motivator, great defensive coordinator that guys really rallied around from day one. But once again, the long-term thinking here in Detroit really paid off because, I mean, that last year with Aaron Glenn, I mean, the Lions didn't think they were going to have Glenn or Johnson last year either. that was house money, kind of the way they were looking at it. And they had been preparing Kelvin Shepard, the new defensive coordinator, for the last 2 years, giving him more roles, giving him more opportunities to step in front of the team. And I mean, you could see it at the end of the season when Aaron Glenn's sitting on the bench and Shepard's taking over. I mean, there was a real in-waiting situation there for Kelvin Shepard. So, same thing for the offense. Nobody's going to come in and reinvent the wheel. I mean, the biggest boost for that defense is going to be the continuity and getting that guy Aiden Hutchinson back. And Shep's worked with him closely for his entire career. So, it's a change, but it's not the drastic change the outside world seems to be kind of thinking it is. Obviously, the quality of the coach is the thing people are worried about, but the familiarity and the continuity is here. It really is.
What is it like to cover Dan Campbell every day as a member of the media? I imagine that's got to be quite the job.
Hey man, it's a blessing. He is entertaining. He is a real person, and he's honest. And he understands what like our job is too. As a player who did it, I mean, I started on the beat during the Patricia years, and it was the exact opposite of this. So it really is a joy. I mean, Dan will make you laugh. Dan will make you think. I mean, he just works with you. And I mean, that's what it is at the end of the day. And I think that's what speaks to what they've been able to do in Detroit. He's a real person, and that pays off.
Ben Raven, MLive.com, also the host of the Dungeon of Doom podcast, as our NFC North preview continues right now, covering on the Detroit Lions offseason. All right, player personnel-wise, I guess the biggest addition was DJ Reed, right? But there wasn't a lot of additions. I guess you don't need a lot when you win 15 games. How would you assess free agency there in Detroit?
Hey, getting DJ Reed, I mean, they swap out DJ Reed for Carlton Davis. They cut some money off of the deal that went to Davis that he got from New England, and they feel great about Reed. I mean, they really think that he fits well with Terrion Arnold. They think he fits well with what they want to do. They play a lot of man coverage. They play a lot of press. We'll see under Shepard if they change up and mix in some zone there. But, yeah, it was glue pieces. I mean, they added glue pieces, and the reason why they weren't aggressive on the market and the reason why they didn't make all these trades and extensions for edge rushers that every national writer likes to project them for is because they've got even more extensions coming down the line. They just made Kirby Joseph the highest paid safety. Last year it was St. Brown, Goff, and Sewell. Upcoming, Hutchinson, Branch, Gibbs, Laporta. I mean, those guys, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get those guys. So it's the Lions are always going to build through the draft. They're never going to make the big splash in free agency. Reed's the biggest signing that they've made in Brad Holmes' 4 or 5 years at the helm. So it's like that's as big as it's going to get. And the fact that they were still able to get someone like Reed and bring back a bunch of their own guys like Barnes and Anzarike, hey, that was honestly more than I thought they were going to do. I did not think they were going to be able to do something like Reed. I thought it was going to be an Arnold Rakestraw year at outside corner, but here they are with another vet, and they get to work on the young guys more. So as good as it could have been, honestly, with the extensions on the horizon.
How is Aiden Hutchinson's recovery going? Did I see that he's pretty much back to full speed?
Yeah, he's full speed. He's full go. They held out like 20, 25 guys the last 2 weeks at OTAs, and he was out there doing as much as anybody. So he's back.
And on offense, I mean, look, the talent speaks for itself. You mentioned Gibbs, St. Brown. We know how good Montgomery is, Laporta, Jared Goff. I mean, it's a lot of the same old, but that same old was very good the last couple of years. I imagine they expect more of the same this season.
Yeah, and it's such a young group. It really, I mean, Sewell, I think, turns 25 this season. It's ridiculous. Gibbs is young. Gibbs is just going to keep getting better. Jameson Williams, 1,000 yards last year. I mean, if he's serious, I mean, that's the thing I keep hearing out of Allen Park is like, we know St. Brown's going to be a borderline first team All-Pro or second team All-Pro once again, but like Jameson Williams has a ton more room to grow. And Sam Laporta, while nobody wants to call last year a down year for him, I just think the targets were down just because JMO was better. Gibbs was better. They actually had a wide receiver 3 in Tim Patrick again, so that was nice too. But like, there's more room to grow for this offense, seriously. And Jameson Williams and Sam Laporta, I mean, those are some bona fide pieces right there. And I mean, I think Gibbs is going to be one of those guys that we're talking about as one of the 1, 2, or 3 best running backs in the NFL much sooner than later. Just continues to just get better as an all-around running back. They got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of toys.
The NFC North is absolutely wild. We know how good Detroit is. Minnesota's got a new quarterback, but they got a lot of talent on that roster. Green Bay is going to be good. And I guess the unknown is, as we talked about, Ben Johnson in Chicago. Do you still think this is Detroit's division, and who's their biggest competitor?
You know, even with Frank Ragnow retiring last week, which is the biggest hit of the offseason for the Lions, I still think this is the Lions' division to lose. I think they should still be the favorite to win that thing 3 years in a row. But the biggest competitor is Green Bay. And that's no disrespect to Minnesota and what they did last year, but they're working in a rookie cornerback, a lot of changes on that defense too. I think it's going to come down to Detroit and Green Bay, and they open the season together, and that'll be fireworks out of the gate. But yeah, I expect Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota to be playoff teams. And I don't think Chicago's going to be there right yet, but they're not going to be bad. Like, I'll just say that. Like, I think Chicago very much has an 8-9, 7-10 run in them, and to be even better the next season. But I do think this is a Detroit Green Bay led division this year, with Detroit taking it again.
And people tend to forget this, that Philadelphia, who won the world championship, did not have the best record in the NFC in the regular season. Of course, the Detroit Lions did. I mean, how do you stack up Detroit against Philly and the Rams and all the other contenders in the entire NFC?
You know, I really did have them like right up there with Philly, but then the Frank Ragnow retirement really does. I mean, it doesn't make me change them from a division favorite or anything, but like that. But I mean, we're talking about there's going to be 2 career starts between the starting guards, and Graham Glasgow is probably going to take over at center. Had just a rough second half of the season last year. So for the first time in like 5 years, there are some questions on that offensive line. Obviously, Sewell and Decker is as good as they get at tackle, but like, the guard and center situation is inexperienced, and it's got a lot of question marks on it. So I put them like right below Philly. I think they're the second best team in the NFC, but I do think that there is a gap between them and Philly.
Ben, we know there's a lot of transplants from the Michigan area, the Detroit area, here in the Northeast Florida area. Tell Lion fans here in Jacksonville and the South Georgia region about the Dungeon of Doom podcast, about M Live, and where they can find your work.
Yeah, M Live. We're made up of like, I forget what the number is, but I mean, we're the Grand Rapids Press, Flint Journal, Saginaw News, Bay City Times. I mean, we're Michigan's largest news organization. That's mlive.com. And the Dungeon of Doom podcast, during the season, we're twice a week. We'll do a post-game recap, and we like to do like a mailbag Thursday. And you can find that anywhere you get your podcasts. I host that with my beat partner, Corey Woods. We've been running strong for 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, check us out. We're heading into summer hiatus here, but M Live and Dungeon of Doom we'll be back at it in mid-July, full steam ahead.
He's one of our guys in Detroit when it comes to the Lions. Ben Raven, mlive.com, and the host of the Dungeon of Doom podcast. Ben, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
Lap times, tire pressure, and track bar adjustments.
Oh, he's going to get loose.
Sunday in Mexico City.
Bubba Wallace slides up in the outside lane.
NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on Jacksonville's NASCAR station, 1010XL.
Hacker here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Look, the summer has arrived. Memorial Day is in the rearview mirror. It's vacation season for me, and over the next couple of weeks, whether it's a cruise, going out to Las Vegas, I'm going to bust out the tank tops, man. I'm going to show off the bod a little bit. Now, would I have done that 100 pounds ago? Of course not. But thanks to the great folks at Awaken 180 Weight Loss, I really have a new lease on life. It's life-changing. I'm in the maintenance program now, doing really well, right? The weight is not coming back on. That's almost as rewarding, if not a little more rewarding. It's one thing to lose the weight. It's something else to keep it off. I've been able to do that with the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. If it's time in your life to make that change like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Watch the Stanley Cup Final at the brand new Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. Specials include $1 wings and $3 drafts for the Stanley Cup Final at Front Runners Tap House.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to i9sports.com with summer and fall registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
Teach your birdies to sing with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Joe C for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off. Select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Primer and Ceiling Paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Man, jack of all trades, masters of none? It just feels like at every turn nowadays, every company can do all work. Not us. Hi, Stevie Beatrice here, second generation plumber right here in Jacksonville, Florida. We are your master plumbing company that only focuses on all your plumbing needs. So for your next plumbing job, don't call another Jack. Call Beatrice Plumbing, where plumbing is what we do and plumbing is what we're great at. Beatrice Plumbing, here to help.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. In for Baloo. Glad you're with us. 1010XL at 92.5 FM. Game 3, Stanley Cup Finals coming up in about 40 minutes or so. Edmonton and Florida, series tied at a game apiece. We are at Frontrunners Tap House inside of the Community First Igloo. Listen to some of the deals they have for the Stanley Cup Finals. Tonight, again on Thursday, any night the Stanley Cup Finals are going on. $1 wings. All right, that speaks for itself. $1 wings. $3 cold beer. Can't just say beer. You got to say cold beer. $3 cold beer. $5 app specials. $8 craft cocktails. They got specials here all night for the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton and Florida. People are starting to roll in. Again, Front Runners Tap House, the Community First, inside the Community First Igloo is at our location. This place is terrific. TVs everywhere. A lot of hockey fans. See some New York Ranger fans. I saw an Islander jersey walking in here. It's not just a Florida-Edmonton thing. It's an all-hockey thing. See a lot of Iceman jerseys in here as well. So come on out to the Frontrunners Tap House, which, again, is located inside of the Community First Igloo for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and enjoy $1 wings, $3 cold beer, $5 apps, and $8 craft cocktails. Cool story. I'm going to take 60 seconds to share a family story because that's kind of the luxury you have when you host a radio show. You can kind of take 60 seconds and do something. So we're in the middle of the Caribbean on a vacation last week, and little Hack is coming up to me and saying, Daddy, one of my teeth are getting wiggly, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, man, you're going to lose a tooth. I figured it would be, a couple of days. It was Friday. We got back on Sunday, so I was almost hoping that it would happen when we got back to Jacksonville because, the Tooth Fairy, it's a lot easier to find you in Jacksonville, in the middle of the Caribbean, with a lot of pina coladas and whatnot. But anyway, little Hack in the middle of the Caribbean on Friday night, first tooth gone. What a memory for my guy. You want to talk about being fired up? My 6-year-old was telling anybody with an earshot, I lost my first tooth. I lost my first tooth. I lost my first tooth. I was just like, wow, what a moment. And then I got to thinking, this guy was just a baby not that long ago, and now he's losing his first tooth. Everybody told me it's going to go quick, but my goodness, I wish it would slow down a little bit. Good news is the Tooth Fairy was able to find little Hack in the middle of the Caribbean, hooked him up, and I guess the first tooth gets kind of a prestigious award from the Tooth Fairy because little Hack woke up the next morning and the Tooth Fairy left him $20. Whoa. I said, $20? I was like, wow, the Tooth Fairy. Congratulations, little Hack. That's good stuff. I don't know if you're going to get $20 for every tooth, but it was a momentous occasion, the first tooth, so I guess $20 was well warranted. So congrats to my little guy on the loss of his first tooth in the middle of the Caribbean. Boy, a lot of NFL stuff happened while I was gone. Something that happened today that we haven't mentioned yet. I guess Bobby Ingram of mentioned it earlier. Molly Hatchet, Florida Theater on June 28th. He mentioned it earlier, so kudos to Bobby for that. Logan Cook becomes the highest paid punter in the NFL today. Logan Cook has been the best punter in the league for some time. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves because he's in Jacksonville. He certainly has had a lot of opportunities here in Jacksonville to punt the football, no question about it. But he's been, to me, the best punter for a while. He now gets rewarded with a brand-new 4-year contract. I love the fact that Logan Cook is going to be here long-term. Obviously, the big news in the NFL is Aaron Rodgers, now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. How is that going to work out? I don't think anybody really knows. If he's Aaron Rodgers from 3 years ago, could be very good. If he's Aaron Rodgers of last year, it's going to be very bad. So we'll just have to see. But it's very anti-Steeler to go out and trade for DK Metcalf, now bring in Aaron Rodgers. It's almost as if Mike Tomlin is starting to think he needs to win this year. And if he doesn't win this year, meaning a playoff game or two, maybe change is coming. The Steelers very rarely are this active in the offseason. But Aaron Rodgers now in Pittsburgh. Jair Alexander released today in Green Bay. Of course, he played for Anthony Campanile last year. Campanile was the linebacker coach in Green Bay. Alexander, good player there. I'll tell you this about Alexander, though. He has missed as many games as he has played in the last 4 years. Think about that for a second. He has missed as many games as he has played in the last 4 years. You can't help the club if you're in the tub. And Jair Alexander has had some injury issues for the last 4 seasons. That's why I would pump the brakes on that one. I see a lot of Jaguar fans wanting him. I would pump the brakes a little bit on that because he has not been available very much over the last 4 years. And Nick Chubb, former Georgia Bulldog, now to the Houston Texans. What an interesting 1-2 combo in the backfield for Houston. They got Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb. Now, if this was 2021, that would be an amazing backfield. I think both guys are a little bit past the prime, certainly, and it doesn't help when the Texans' offensive line is horrible. But aside from the Texans' offensive line being horrible and Mixon and Chubb probably being on the downward trajectory of their careers, Other than that, it appears to be a pretty good signing on paper with Nick Chubb. I kid because I care. It's interesting who's going to get a bulk of those carries between Mixon and Nick Chubb. And, of course, the Jaguars will see the Texans twice this year, including Week 3 right here in Jacksonville, which is, of course, the revenge game as the Jaguars take on Azeez Al-Shire and that Houston Texans football team. But more on that coming up in just a moment. Again, Front Runners Tap House out here inside the Community First Igloo. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals about 30 minutes away. We do hope that you come out and join us. Speaking of the finals, the NBA Finals are also going on. Indiana, Oklahoma City tied at a game apiece. How about Tom Thibodeau getting fired with the New York Knicks? I had no idea about that. When you're on a cruise ship, you don't get a lot of information. We got into Puerto Rico, one of our ports of call. I turn on my cell phone. I see Tom Thibodeau got fired. I was like, holy moly. So we're going to talk about that, the NBA Finals, and the NBA Draft is at the end of the month. What about Giannis? What are some of the big stories draft-related as we get close to that? Let's talk with Brian Toporek of Bleacher Report and Forbes. He's one of our main NBA guys here on Hacker After Dark, and he joins me next on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida, getting ready for the Stanley Cup Finals here inside the Front Runners Tap House. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Now, Studio Talk with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Me and you are the same height. We're not the same height. I'm handsome tall.
The Drill.
You're the type of tall where you walk to the airport and people stop what they're eating and look at you.
Mornings.
You're like a freak.
On 1010XL.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Hicken here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee & Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee & Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand-new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
ET here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find Scratch Kitchen that always comes in the clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more. Come on, somebody.
Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hicken here with a game winner. It's Checkmate Coatings. I've scouted them all. And this Jacksonville crew's the real deal.
I'm Brendan, owner of Checkmate Coatings. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision.
Score big at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No, no, no. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they probably fenced it too. From tough chain link to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys Locksmith Service.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We are all tied in the NBA Finals. Indiana and Oklahoma City, a game apiece as the series now shifts to Indiana for games 3 and 4. We had, quite frankly, a stunning coaching firing in the NBA in the last week or so, and the NBA draft is at the end of the month. There is a lot to get into. With that, Brian Toporek has been one of our NBA guys for years. You catch his work at Bleacher Report and Forbes, and Brian's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brian, how we doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Brian, we're good. Thank you for the time, as always. All right, a game apiece in the NBA Finals. Some will tell you Indiana stole one in Game 1. Oklahoma City was pretty dominant in Game 2. How do you summarize where we are 2 games in?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, this very easily could be OKC up 2-0, which I think is what most people probably expected going into the series. Indiana pulled off a literally unprecedented comeback in Game 1. No team had ever come back from the deficit they were facing with 3 minutes left. OKC just got cold at the wrong time, and we've seen this from the Pacers time and again in the playoffs. They just you can never count them as dead until the clock hits 0. So I think OKC, they were saying last night after the game that Indiana is kind of an acquired taste in that regard, and that Game 1 was a nice wake-up call for them. Not that they weren't expecting that going into the series, but you just have to adjust to the way Indiana plays. So, I think the big story, at least coming out of Game 1 going into Game 2, was the Thunder preemptively changed their starting lineup going into Game 1, which is something we don't typically see. We often see it like when a team gets down 2-0, 3-0, its back's against the wall, then you start to see, we saw it with the Knicks where they benched Josh Hart for Mitchell Robinson, the Bucks against the Pacers, benched Kyle Kuzma in Game 5, but it's very rare to see this that early in the series. And, the Thunder caught some flack for it after Game 1, after they wound up losing. But I think it's important to remember, one, they were up 12 points at halftime in Game 1. They had forced 19 turnovers in the first half alone. So the starting lineup change was not why they lost Game 1. If anything, they didn't play Chet Holmgren down the stretch in that game. They went without either of their bigs on the floor. They got totally out-rebounded in Game 1. I think it was like 56-39, something along those lines. So the starting lineup was not to blame for that, but that was the big talking point going into Game 2. Would the Thunder go back and start their two bigs. They did not. They stuck with Case and Wallace in their starting lineup. Lo and behold, they get up to a double-digit advantage. Again, they're up 18 at halftime. We're up by double digits the entire second half, win the game comfortably. So I found that talking point in particular very funny going into game two, coming out of game one, because I just thought it was totally off base, especially, I know we're going to talk Tibbs later, but we get on these coaches all the time about being slow to adjust. So we just can't have it both ways, right? Like we can't have the criticism of a Tom Thibodeau or a Doc Rivers being slow to adjust, but then when the Thunder preemptively do it, they get killed for that too. So what is it that you have to adjust in game two? Is that the optimal outcome here? So I think it's a testament to OKC that they were willing to make that sort of change ahead of game one, because it is so rare to see. But, the NBA playoffs are all about matchups. And coming out of game one, they were saying we wanted another guard on the floor to deal with Tyrese Halliburton and to deal with Andrew Nembhard. Cason Wallace is, a second-year guy, but he started 40-plus games in the regular season, great defender. And I think they thought that just gave them the best chance defensively, which, again, for most of game one, it did.
Brian Toporek, Bleacher Report, and Forbes with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, from an Oklahoma City perspective, NBA fans know about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think casual sports fans maybe don't, or know the name but don't necessarily know the player. Is this a coming out party for him? If he leads the Thunder to a championship as the finals MVP, I mean, this is his moment, correct?
I think he's already had the coming out party. He won the MVP this year. Like this, I agree with you that he is probably not as well known as some of the other guys who have won MVP in recent years. Jokic, of course, he's not on a tier of like LeBron or Kobe, but the guy is one of the most potent scorers in the NBA. A three-level scorer really gets it done. Not a great high-volume three-point shooter, but that's in his bag. One of the best foul drawers in the league, which I know has been very upsetting to pretty much every fan base that had to deal with him in these playoffs. I'm sure Indiana is also starting to feel that way too. But Rick Carlisle said after game two, look, this guy's going to get 30 points coming off the plane. There's nothing we can do to stop this. This is just who he is. We just need to be better and make sure that we can, make it as challenging for him as possible, make him inefficient, which he was in game one, and then make sure that the supporting cast doesn't kill them like they did in game two. Because in game one, it was really, Shai got his, but I think there was only 6 points from Chet Holmgren, not a ton from Jalen Williams. You didn't get the impact off the bench that you got in game two. So, this just is who Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is. He's going to get you 25 to 30 points per game. It's just, what else can he and the supporting cast get you? That's the difference between winning and losing.
I mean, from an Indiana perspective, Tyrese Halliburton has put forth one of the most miraculous postseason runs that we've seen maybe ever, certainly in a long time, with game winners and moments and comebacks. I mean, it's been absolutely nuts. If Indiana goes on to win this series, I mean, where does this run for Halliburton rank among the greatest runs we've seen in postseason NBA history?
Yeah, I want to look into it, actually, because I saw Ramona Shelburne of ESPN mentioned that he was 13 of 15, I believe, on game-tying or go-ahead shots in the last 2 minutes of a game. And this is regular season and playoffs combined. I haven't looked specifically at the playoffs to see where, but, just anecdotally, it certainly feels like it's one of the biggest. Not only does he have the game winner in game one, against the Thunder. I mean, who could forget the shot against the Knicks to cap that furious rally as well? He won against the Cavs too. I mean, he's been just sensational throughout the playoffs. I think the thing to keep an eye on, he was reportedly kind of limping after game two last night. People mentioned that when he was coming off the podium from the post-game press conference. So we'll see, if he is 100% or anything close to that in game three. And the other thing he brought up was he's been kind of starting slow offensively in these first two games. I think he had 6 points, 7 rebounds at halftime in game one, only 3 points and 3 assists by halftime of game 2. So I forget who, I think it might have been Ramona had this story about Halliburton as well the other day. But his trainer, Drew Hamlin, has been on him, to be more aggressive as a scorer because he is, the prototypical like pass first point guard. But Hamlin has kind of gotten on him and said that at a certain point, your unselfishness works against you and works against the team. Like you need to command that respect as a scorer. And that's going to open things up more for your teammates. So I'll be interested to see, can he get going more as a scorer early on in game 3? It's tough though. I mean, OKC, this is what they do. They have, incredible defenders up and down the court. Like there are no weak links to attack. And we've seen this now play out for Halliburton against them, both in the first 2 games of this series and in the regular season as well.
Best of 5 now with the series tied 1-1. Do you still think Oklahoma City is the large favorite?
Yeah, I think deservedly so. Again, barring a historic comeback, they're up 2-0 in this series. And I just think they have more options to throw at Indiana than vice versa. You just need kind of a perfect game for Indiana. And, if we don't, especially if Halliburton is at all physically limited, that's going to be really, really tough to overcome. I thought this could be wrong. Like maybe OKC wins the next 3 and it ends in 5 as a lot of people expected. I thought the Pacers would put up a decent fight and maybe take this out to 6. So I'm still inclined to think they take one of these next 2 at home, but I think OKC wins at least one of the next 2, regains home court advantage, and ends up winning the series.
Final moments, Brian Toporek, Bleacher Report, and Forbes. Brian, I mentioned to you off air, I was on a cruise ship last week. I get into one of the ports of call, fire up my cell phone for the first time in a couple of days, and you can imagine my surprise when I saw the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau after an Eastern Conference final appearance. 3 weeks ago, all was right with the world in New York. You lose to Indiana, and the coach is gone. I mean, were you as surprised as I was by that?
Yes and no. I mean, there were rumors that he was on the hot seat going into the playoffs. And, there was this late in the regular season, Mikal Bridges kind of voiced his frustration with Tibbs's rotations and how many minutes the guys were playing, which has been one of the long-standing criticisms about Tibbs. So you figured if they didn't make it out of the second round, this was going to happen. Upsetting Boston and then getting the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years and then getting fired. I think that was the surprise. The status quo would be the easiest thing to maintain. And especially, I think a lot of people thought that, if they're doing this, they've got a coach in mind. And now it's becoming clear that, no, they didn't necessarily have a clear, succession plan. They just really decided it was time to move on from Tibbs. As reporting has trickled out, it sounds like Vincent Goodwill of Yahoo Sports had a story the other day. It said a couple players during their exit interviews basically said that, they didn't agree with his rotations, minutes, didn't think he could adjust as well as you need to throughout the playoffs. I think one player even said that he couldn't envision playing for Tibbs next year if he was back. So I would imagine that set off some alarm bells in New York. But, now we're hearing they're interested in Jason Kidd. Dallas has no interest in letting them interview Jason Kidd. So there are plenty of good coaches on the market. If they want to go the established route, Mike Malone would be the obvious one, but he has some major Tibbs vibes as well. Taylor Jenkins, Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel. So they have options if they want to go the established route. Maybe they go for a first-time coach as well. It's certainly interesting to see which direction they'll pick here.
Yeah, obviously a pretty big job there in Madison Square Garden with that New York Knicks franchise. Brian, as we wrap up, the NBA Finals are still going on, but that NBA calendar never stops, man. The NBA draft is less than a month away. Heck, it's at the end of this month, I believe, the end of June.
Yeah.
Where are we as far as player movement, rumors, anything you're hearing as the draft approaches?
Yeah, I mean, the big domino yet to fall is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Shams Charania of ESPN reported last month that he was at least open to considering whether he would be willing to move on we've heard absolute radio silence in that regard since, and some of the chatter over the last couple days is starting to imply that he will be back in Milwaukee next year. But I think, we're not going to see anything big happen until we get more clarity on that front, because any team that wants any of these other players on the trade market is obviously going to make sure that they don't burn their assets for another team or another player, and then Giannis hits the market a couple days later. In terms of guys who I think are going to move this summer, Kevin Durant for the Suns is the obvious one. They just hired a new head coach, and now basically everyone is saying they are working to find a new home for Kevin Durant, who they shopped at the trade deadline, which he did not seem to appreciate. So I think there are a bunch of teams out there. The Knicks have come up, Rockets because they own the Suns picks for the next couple of years. Raptors are looming as a wild card. The Spurs, it sounds like there's been some smoke there. Timberwolves as well, tried to get them at the deadline and didn't, but they might be able to this summer. So I think if Giannis does not move, I would imagine KD is going to be the biggest name on the move this offseason, but would not shock me if we see even more guys. There's been some talk about the Kings maybe shopping DeMar DeRozan. Even Domas Sabonis was apparently not thrilled with their direction in the wake of the De'Aaron Fox trade. So it sounds like he is at least, trying to figure out what their long-term direction is. He loves Sacramento. He wants to stay there, but unclear if they don't have a long-term plan, how much loyalty will save them in that regard. They're basically, the Brooklyn Nets are the only team with cap space this summer. So everyone is effectively saying, if you're going to see major movement, it's going to be via trade. Boston is another one, especially in the wake of Jason Tatum's Achilles injury, which is really unfortunate. They're in line to have the first $500 million payroll in NBA history between salaries and luxury tax, which is just completely unsustainable. Like, even if they basically they would have had to win back-to-back championships for that to be even under consideration. Now with Tatum out for most or all of next year, it sounds like they're going to be cutting down salary significantly. So Kristaps Porzingis, I think, is the obvious name to monitor there. Drew Holiday as well. I would think they're going to try to hold on to Jaylen Brown and Derek White if they can, but I think one of those big names will not be in Boston next year.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild offseason. Like you said, there's basically nobody with cap room outside of Brooklyn, so a lot of trades, or at least are rumored to have happened, and we'll see if that ultimately comes to fruition as the summer months approach. Brian Toporek, Bleacher Report and Forbes. Brian, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time, buddy. We'll talk again soon.
Of course, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to my buddy Brian Toporek of Bleacher Report and Forbes. Brian's been one of my NBA guys for years. Always appreciate his perspective. Again, the NBA Finals will take a break until, I believe, Wednesday, right? And then Wednesday is Game 3. Well, what a scene that'll be in Indianapolis. We know how the Pacer fans love their basketball, and the first Finals game for them in a long, long time, series tied 1-1. Clearly, it appears Oklahoma City is the better team, yet it's still a 1-1 series. Indiana did what they did in Game 1. We'll see what happens. Indiana's still with home court, despite losing that game last night pretty convincingly to Oklahoma City by 16. So we talked a lot about that. We started our NFC North preview. Again, we'll make stops later on in the week in Green Bay, in Chicago, and in Minneapolis. We were in Detroit tonight to talk with a team in the Lions that were the best team in the NFC in the regular season last year. Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. They were not the number one seed in the NFC. Detroit was. You tend to forget that because Washington went in there and beat them in the divisional round. But Detroit's going to be interesting because how do they do without Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator? How do they do without Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator? And again, the NFC North appears to be the toughest division in football. And I didn't know this before I did some research on the division for my interviews this week. You realize not only do the NFC North have to play each other twice, they have to play the AFC North this year, which means all of them have to play Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh now, I guess, right, with Aaron Rodgers. And they all play the NFC East, which means they all play Philadelphia, Washington, and Dallas. So the NFC North might be the best division in football, and all four teams might be 9-8, 10-7, 11-6, because their schedules are absolutely brutal. So we'll continue previewing that. And then Jaguar minicamp tomorrow, right? Looking forward to that. The Jaguars made some news today with Logan Cook, a 4-year extension. $16 million is what's being reported as Logan Cook becomes the highest paid punter in the NFL. He's been the best punter in the league for quite some time. He gets rewarded as such. He'll be out there at mandatory minicamp tomorrow, along with the rest of the guys. I'll be down there for morning practice at the Miller Electric Center. I'm scheduled to talk with Jaguar offensive lineman Fred Johnson tomorrow, and we will bring you that conversation tomorrow evening on Hacker After Dark. Certainly looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing the guys get out there. Again, minicamp practice tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then that's it for the off season. They'll take about 5 or so weeks off, and they'll come back at the end of July for training camp, and we will kick off the 2025 NFL season. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a very, very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. Again, thank you to Benjamin Raven covering the Lions up there in Detroit. Thank you to Brian Toporek of Bleacher Report talking NBA Finals, and my buddy Dave Campo, the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, previewing minicamp. And a big thank you to Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo. Boy, it is getting loud in here. It is getting filled up in here for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. $1 wings, $3 cold beer, $5 app specials, $8 craft cocktails for the nights of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is tonight, Thursday, and any cup final night moving forward. And again, thank you to Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo for having us out tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Max Fink was your on-site engineer. Appreciate Max's work tonight. Dylan Denmark was your producer. Denmark, great to be back with you. And again, I'm Hacker Ryan Green. We will be back tomorrow night for a Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. And again, we'll be down at minicamp tomorrow, scheduled to talk with Jaguar offensive lineman Fred